Let's hit a few things on the Phils. Yesterday, Hugh, we got some big news in Major League Baseball. And it's not, maybe the destination was surprising. The result isn't. Ranger Suarez no longer with the Phillies. There really wasn't any at all reporting that they seriously thought about bringing him back. Just seemed like it was just understood that the Phillies were going to let Ranger Suarez walk. He got a 5-year, $130 million contract in free agency to go to the Boston Red Sox. But Hugh, I'm going to miss watching him pitch. Right? I really enjoyed watching Ranger, and I understand the Phillies have a lot of financial commitments. They have pitching in the pipeline with Andrew Painter. They have long-term deals out right now to Sanchez, to Nola, to Wheeler. I get all that. I do think they're going to miss this guy. He was a good pitcher. I think we've actually almost underrated how good he was. In the last 5 years, he has the 10th best ERA among all starting pitchers, and I realize he got hurt sometimes. He didn't pitch 200 innings every year, but
when he came back, though, man.
10th best ERA in 5 years, that's a lot. And he has the third best postseason ERA ever. Ever. I mean, this guy was a big game pitcher. Hugh, I think they're going to love him up in Boston, and I'm going to miss watching him pitch.
Yeah, because we still don't know what's going on with Wheeler. We know he had the surgery, a couple weeks ago,
Yep.
and he's recovering from that. Yeah, you're going to miss that guy, man. He's had his ups and downs since he's been here, though, but yeah, good for him. What did he get, $130 million?
5 years, $130 million.
Yeah, that's good for him. Good for him. I don't think the Phillies were going to give him that kind of money.
I don't think so. I mean, there really was never any sort of reporting out there that they considered bringing him back. And look, again, I recognize they have pitching here, but there are some question marks. As much as we just reflectively say, like a reflex, like, oh, their pitching's fine. Zach Wheeler's coming off a major surgery. Aaron Nola had a 6 ERA last year.
Yeah.
Jesus Luzardo is a free agent to be. I like Luzardo a lot, but he's not under a long-term deal. Sanchez is the one, clear lockdown. We know we got something excellent, and he's under a long-term deal. And Andrew Painter, for as much as they've been telling me for 3 years.
Yeah, I forgot about that guy.
He's the next great, pitcher. He struggled in AAA last year. So I hope the Phillies are completely right on this. I hope they don't miss him at all. I think they're going to miss him more than we think. And there's no doubt in my mind he's going to get big outs for the Red Sox in big games. I could just picture next October, the Red Sox in the playoffs, and he pitches a big game. And I was thinking back as Kyle played us in with the end of the 2022 NLCS, put him in the World Series, my favorite Ranger games. Mm-hmm. I mean, that moment was obviously his height, the biggest moment he was part of. The game we were at here, we went to the Phillies Braves down in Atlanta in 2024, or 23 NLDS. He pitched game one, and he was excellent that night. And he pitched a lot of big games. And Kyle, I even think back to the game 2 years ago against the Mets when I thought he didn't even have his best stuff, and he somehow gutted out 4 or 5 innings.
That's not the first, or it's not the last time he did that.
Yeah.
He just did it in the postseason this year. I mean, I only got a few innings, but every time he walks off the mound in the postseason, you're like, damn, how the hell did he do that?
1.42 ERA in the postseason.
Yeah.
I know, man. Phillies better be right about their staff and what they have in the pipeline. I'm going to miss Ranger Suarez. All right, so Ranger to the Red Sox, and I think he'll pitch well for them and pitch well for Alex Cora up there. We also got some more intel on what's going on with the Phillies and Bo Bichette. Here's Jeff Passan from ESPN talking about where the Bichette sweepstakes is right now.
Yeah, but, teams are only in the lead insofar as they have the most money on the table. And I think the expectation is that the Phillies, at the end of the day, are going to be the highest bidders. They have cap, they have reason to go after him. And they have a need, not just for the right-handed complement to the Schwarber and the Harper, but also just to rejigger that clubhouse a little. Teams get stale sometimes. And Tim, if you look at what the Phillies have done going from the World Series to the NLCS to the Division Series and getting bounced in consecutive years, that incarnation of them couldn't get over the hump. And there are a lot worse ways to mix it up than by bringing in Bo Bichette, a guy who, whatever he plays, whether it's second base, third base, or even shortstop, he's going to hit, and he's going to be a productive bat.
Hugh, this is the first time, listening to Jeff Passan there talk, that the Bichette thing has been framed as they need to shake up the team a little bit. Because it's just, the last 2 weeks has been more hey, an opportunity may have fallen in their lap. He's still out there. The way he hit it was hey, they've gotten stagnant. They need to shake that thing up, which I agree with.
Yeah, and I think that, when we talk about the press conference that was had a few weeks ago when they didn't make any major moves, everybody was kind of feeling like they were going to keep the team the same. I don't think you can do that, especially when you talk about the way it's already constructed and what has happened over the last 2 seasons. You've fallen short. can't run that thing back like you did last year. Can't do it.
So we're still on Bichette watch here to see if this thing gets done. The Phillies are considered the favorite. I expect it to get done. I think they're going to give extra years to try to make sure they get him. Wouldn't surprise me if they go to 7 or 8 years to get a Bo Bichette. All right, one more thing here. This from Bob Nightingale on the Foul Territory podcast, talking about JT Realmuto. Sounds like this thing may be getting a little bit uncomfortable, maybe a little ugly between the two sides. Here is Nightingale on where the Phillies and JT are.
Yeah, they're going to have to shake up things in a hurry. I think Bone would be gone. Could be stopped, but I think Bone would be gone to go get a catcher. I was told that if they do sign Bichette, that Realmuto is gone. They're not that close in negotiations. I think there's been some tension there, just like it was years ago. I think there's more tension now, and so if they do sign Bichette, I don't think there's any way they bring him back. You really have to drop down in his demand, whatever he's asking for. And I'm not sure who's in the market for a 35-year-old catcher. I don't know where else he would go.
Hugh, the word tension is interesting because now it feels like we're going to the point where they're annoyed at each other, both sides, the Phillies and JT.
Tension is not a great way to describe negotiations, because that means that somebody, I'm assuming is JT, feels disrespected with the offer that you've given him for the work that he's put in. So, yeah, it's never a good thing when you talk about disrespect when you talk about negotiations.
So, you know what I think is hard? I mean, obviously, you live this as an athlete who went through an entire career, right? Like, what I think is always hard for teams is when they think the player's obviously diminished, right?
And they
want to pay him like what he is,
player.
But he's like, I'm JT Realmuto, and I've done a lot for you guys, right? It's not like he's going to sign with the Pirates. I think he wants to come back here, Hugh. We've had him on in spring trainings. Just the sense I get from him is he'd want to finish here. Like that's what I get.
That's what it feels like.
But
it
do you
feels
think it's hard for him to take a real big pay cut?
I think it probably would be. I honestly do. I think for him, when you talk about the time that he's put in and honestly, you really haven't done anything you haven't groomed anybody else to take his spot. So he's probably feeling like he has all the leverage because you don't have anybody. And the way that they're handling him makes him feel unappreciated. It's a lot, man. That negotiations are tough, especially when, you've been somewhere for as long as he's been here and you're hearing that, hey, we like you, but we don't like you like that. Well,
the other part, I think, and I don't know if this will ever come out, Hugh, I'm just, from my perspective, if I'm him, right, they've already committed a lot of money to the end of the careers of Trey Turner and Bryce Harper, right? Like they have acknowledged we're going to pay these guys probably a lot of money when they're not that good anymore.
Yeah.
If I'm him, I'm like, well,
why can't you do that for me?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're going to pay Trey when he's 40, and he's not going to be that good.
Why can't
anymore.
I get that sweetheart deal?
Exactly. I mean, that when you start paying certain people long term into their late 30s or 40s, and then do it to others. If I'm JT Realmuto, if I had my preference, he's back next year. They could go trade for Ryan Jeffers. They could sign a Caratini. They could get a guy. I'd rather JT back next year and have him at the bottom of the lineup. It makes the team the best they could be. But I get his perspective. Like, all right, he's not the same player he used to be, but
I want to be paid.
I wonder how big the pay cut is. Right? Like, he was making over $20 million. That's too much for the player he is. But is there a point where it's almost
disrespectful?
Yeah. Like
for him, obviously it is. I don't know what that number is, but if you're using the word, tension. Yeah, that it has to be for him disrespectful.
Yeah, I mean, the Bichette thing's the most important, but I think the JT thing's the most interesting over the next couple of weeks. Does he get the money he wants? Or the Phillies cave? And does he come back for way less than he wants? 215-592-9494. All right, let's go back to phone lines, and you can react to the Ranger thing as well. And if you think the Phillies are going to miss him, I do. I don't think it's as clear as maybe they do that they don't need him anymore. I get why they didn't pay him. That's a lot of money, and he's had injuries, but I don't think the rotation is as just locked in, as dominant next season as maybe they think they have.